This is episode 89 of the After Gambling Podcast. And in this episode, I'm just here to say hello again. Hey there, and welcome to the After Gambling Podcast. My name is Jamie. I am a former problem gambler, and now I do this little podcast to help people who are on a similar journey to mine that are trying to stop gambling because it's just kind of taken over their life, or friends and family that are trying to help a loved one, or just trying to flat out understand what this addiction's all about. Because I see that so much. People just baffled, confused, perplexed, all of the above about gambling addiction, because it is something that just doesn't really make much sense on the surface. So it's for them, treatment professionals and clinicians, researchers. There's all sorts of people that hopefully will listen to this podcast, draw something out of it, and be able to use it in their day-to-day life or work. And then finally, if you're not in any of those, but you have a pulse and you are wandering around this little marble that's floating through space, welcome in. I think that you'll find this stuff. While I talk about everything through the lens of gambling, it applies to everything in life. So if you're struggling with your weight, or you're struggling with alcohol, or working too much, or parenting, or it doesn't matter. There's something in your life that you're probably struggling with that you wish you had a better handle on. You wish you understood a little bit better. Sometimes going to a podcast that's completely different, or a topic that's completely different, for me, it really helps me to see another situation in my life in such a clearer, better light, because I can see sort of the flaws in the thinking, or places where things could change for the better in somebody else's life or in some other situation. And then I can pull that back into my life and apply it for better. So welcome in any of the above. Look forward to having you here on this journey with me. Now, first off, I better start off with just saying how I've been, because it's been over a year since I recorded the last episode. And in that one, I said I wanted to get back to podcasting, and I did. And that's, hopefully you know that I'm genuine when I say stuff. I want to get back in. I definitely have an urge. And part of me getting back in now and committing to doing episodes every week, I'm going to get back into the weekly habit, as much as it kind of scares me, because I know that I've gotten away from it and I didn't live up to that commitment in the past. It's something I ultimately know is really healthy and good for me. And that when I'm doing the podcast each week, it creates a regimen to my week. And as somebody that's self-employed, a solopreneur, do all my work, or most of my work on my own, or with clients, obviously, but most of the work is on my own schedule, my own terms. It really helps me to have things that are in place that are weekly, that are check-ins, that just kind of keep my week going through in a smooth way. And it's something that in my work, in my business, I haven't done a good enough job for in implementing systems and processes, repeatable things, scheduling out time. And so it's one of those weaknesses, and it spills over in all areas of my life. And ultimately, I'm here sharing that with you today because that's a big reason why I haven't recorded podcasts over the last year. Things have been going well in other areas of my life, but without the systems in place, I didn't protect time to do a podcast episode. It just got pushed down the list for other things. And you can say, well, maybe some of those are justified, and I think some of them obviously are. Spending time with family is my top priority, right behind spending time with myself. But even that, I've kind of neglected some of the time spending on myself, and developing myself physically is the best, right? Like working out, exercising is something that when I do, I'm in such a better state of mind. But I put these other things. Work has been kind of a top priority too much over the last 12 to 18 months. And ultimately, that makes sense. We came out of the pandemic, which were some tough times, tough years for me financially in my business. There were some down times. And so it makes sense that coming out of that, when work is coming in, I'm not going to say no to things. I'm just going to keep them coming in, because you don't know when that faucet might dry up. And so coming out when it's fresh, when you've been through a time where it was a little bit leaner, then it makes sense that as work's coming in, you're moving that to the top of the priority list, past other things. And sometimes that's a detriment. And ultimately, this is ultimately life, right? We have all these different things, these different burners we're trying to keep going. Personal, family, work, friends, all of the above, and all these other things as well. I mean, taking in social media, taking in news stories, current events. We're trying to balance it all out. And ultimately, we struggle with it. I think that's the guarantee thing, is that we struggle with it. And so if you're listening to this and you're struggling with some of that balance, I guess I share this just hopefully you get some peace of mind or some comfort in knowing that you're not alone in struggling with that balance. And it's something that I don't think you will ever figure out. It's just one of those constant ebb and flow, and we just need to be aware of it. Play the scientist and the subject, as I like to talk about, which is from a great book, Change Anything. You can check that book out. But we play that role of the scientist and the subject. So we're just kind of observing our behaviors and then tweaking them, seeing, okay, did they get better or worse? And that's something we constantly have to do. And too many times, like I said, it's easy to get caught up in doing the same thing over and over. And that is like the definition of insanity, right? That was the problem with gambling. It's the problem when we gain weight. It's because we're doing the same thing over and over. We know what we need to do. We're just not doing it in that moment. So I come back to you as part of a regimen to hopefully kind of smooth out some of those peaks from my life and raise up the valleys so we don't have the highs and the lows. And like I said, this is something that I want to prioritize, because when I don't share on the podcast, it leaks over into other areas of my life. I just feel better when I'm sharing. I feel better. It's no different when I show up for my Monday meetings, which if anybody ever wants to jump on a meeting, you're not sure, you want to do like a GA meeting or whatever, jump on. We just have kind of an informal group. It is full of my favorite people on this planet. And I mean that with all sincerity. They are some of my favorite people on the planet that I get to hang out with on Monday nights. There's a different mix of us on each week, but it's just a nice time to hang out. We talk about like our struggles with gambling, but we also just talk about life. And that's really what I get out of it. And that's what I'm going to try and do more of on this podcast, is go and talk about all the things gambling, but also carry them over into other areas of life. Because it's so true that, and I've seen that, I mean, it's 12 years since I last played poker, but there are other things in our lives that are gambling. There are other things that have similar mechanisms, and we can just replace the gambling with something else. And I think I'll do a whole episode on that. I won't go too deep into that topic now. Maybe I'll say that one for the next episode. But it's natural, I think, to move to the next thing. But if we don't address some of those underlying issues, or if we're not aware of them, they start popping up. Or if we're not just kind of consistently monitoring them, they're habits that just pop back up. And for me, one nagging, long-term, consistent habit that I've gotten into and I've gotten away with is procrastination. And I often put things off until another time. Put it off, and I always have the best of intentions of getting back to things and of getting things done ahead of time, staying on schedule, staying on task, so that I don't let these things build up to this big a moment where I have to spend all my time and energy getting them done. But obviously there's a part of me that has had success in doing that, success in that approach, success in getting the work done. But I also have gotten to the point where maybe it's just old age, but I see the stresses, and it's probably just adding other things like a significant other, a spouse, and kids, other responsibilities into the mix, where all of a sudden that model becomes less sustainable or becomes more painful. Probably a little bit of both, right? I mean, it is both. It's definitely less sustainable, and it's definitely more painful. So it's something that I'm coming back to this. I don't know. I just kind of have this moment today where I feel like I'm at this place where I need to add more accountability into all areas of my life. But this is a great way for me to do that. And for whatever reason, standing here in my basement, recording this podcast, sharing my struggles with you and successes, like obviously I try and share the successes along the way. It helps me. And obviously I've gotten the feedback from a lot of the listeners that it helps as well. And it makes sense, because when I listen to other podcasts, I really love hearing people share what's going on in their life, the good, the bad, the ugly, because in all of it, I can pull something out, whether it's a nugget of something that's really working for them and try it in my own life, or just an awareness, seeing it in somebody else's life that is the struggle. I can identify it, kind of name it, and then reflect back on my own life and see where I'm going wrong in the same way or a similar way. So hopefully you're able to pull that out of this podcast. But the procrastination is something that, like I said, it's been there since high school, since college. I would always wait till the last minute to do projects. And I still do that in my work. And it's hard, right? It's hard to come forward, kind of like the gambling, and admit this publicly, because clients could listen to it, right? Clients could listen to this and say, oh yeah, he procrastinates. Now, obviously I think my work I'm proud of my work. I always do good work. I get things done. In the end, I get them done. But often I don't think the clients see. I'm sure sometimes they see some of the times it's like, well, are we really going to get there? And we always get there in the end or to this point. And that's, I guess, my saving grace has been that I haven't had those moments where it's just an epic fail, where the time comes and things are not done and it's not done well. And I lose clients over it. I haven't had that. I've been fortunate in that I haven't had that happen. But I know that if continuing to push this envelope more and more and add more and more things to my life, that it becomes riskier and riskier. So that's probably why I pulled away from doing the podcast. It's why I've pulled away from doing other things in my life, which I really, really enjoy and which bring me a lot of like joy and happiness, and really satisfaction is the other one. And sharing ultimately my thoughts and views is an area where, whether I'm talking about marketing and brand strategy with a client, or if I'm on the podcast talking about the gambling stuff, or I'm maybe doing some consulting in that field, talking about responsible gambling and the highlighting the complications really of gambling addiction. All those things when I'm sharing and I'm just kind of free flowing and deep in conversation, especially the conversations, those are the best, right? Like it's a moment where I can just be in the moment, be present with somebody else and be on the same, we don't know where it's going, but get feedback and then provide my ideas, and then they take my ideas and they run with them and they give me feedback. Like those are the purest, best moments. And those are the things that for the last probably forever, 20 years plus, I've prioritized those, but sometimes at the detriment of other things, of family, of work, of the podcast. And so I'm hopeful in kind of coming out with this and working through it, that I'll see similar success that in the gambling, addressing my gambling with this part of my life, with addressing some of these things, creating more of a schedule, becoming just freer, and having that at the end be the opportunity to see the value and get that momentum going, where I stay on schedule and I commit to things and I get them done ahead of time. And then that will free me up to honor all of these commitments that I want to make. Because that's, I think, ultimately where it comes down to is we got to trim back all the things that don't matter, but then leave space and time for the things that truly matter. And for those, I mean, my health at the top of the list. I always put myself, because if I'm not right, all the other stuff doesn't matter. And beyond my personal health, my family's well-being, spending time. And that's really the best thing, the most valuable thing that I have is time. It's been cool. My son's getting older. He's real into football right now. And so every night it's, hey, let's go throw the football around. And the last couple of years, I've really tried to do a better job of just saying yes to everything. But there's still things I need to be better at. And sometimes when it's things that I don't want to do, I'm like, oh no, I got this other thing to do. And that's similar to the podcast, right? Like, it's like, why I don't really want to do that right now because I got this other thing that is more pressing or more interesting at the very moment. But then over time, it starts to wear, and you're like, but I really enjoy that. I really like that other thing. So it's complicated, right? We all have these things. We're all probably feel like we're being drawn or pulled in so many different directions on a day-to-day basis. And we are. It's true. And the more that we are just kind of have cell phones and technology bringing all these other world events and other people's lives into, it's easy to reflect on them and say, man, I should be doing more. I wish I was doing this, and looking around and seeing all those things and really kind of getting on that treadmill that never ends, which is a constant go for more. So I'm really trying to pull back. And I think one of the things I'm trying to achieve and coming back and doing the podcast and creating some of these things that I know are just keystone kind of important things that in my day-to-day life really help me and propel me forward. And as I look back at what worked best, this was definitely one that was really successful for me in so many ways. And in addition to this podcast, I'm starting another podcast called Before Gambling. I haven't posted any of that yet, but this is the other part. I have a partner on that, and he's been great, fantastic. He's actually an active current gambler, so that's kind of interesting that we are at different ends of that spectrum, but we have a shared interest in reducing gambling harm, and that's something that has been really, really good, and that relationship has just kind of bloomed and grown, and man, that's just a really cool podcast. Just kind of exploring, both of us exploring our relationship with gambling, but also with life. And so I know that's not going to be one that some people want to listen to because we do talk about current gambling stuff. But it's a different target market, not so much for people that are trying to stop gambling, but actually for people that are trying to understand their own gambling behavior while they're active in gambling or thinking about gambling, or also, again, treatment professionals. But on that topic, I mean, I think we've recorded 25 or 30 episodes. So that's just a growing responsibility that I have to my friend, that I want to get those published and out. But I have to make sure that I create systems and accountability. And so for whatever reason, this seemed like the best place to start here. This was kind of my home where I kind of carved out the podcasting niche, however you want to say it. And really, ultimately, like I said, it was just an area when I come on here and share what's working, what's not working for me. It just keeps me in a good headspace, keeps me moving forward in a positive way, much like exercise does. That's another area that I want to get back into because for whatever reason, I just stopped the intermittent fasting and keto that was working so well for me. Feeling great, looking great, like felt good. I was in great shape. And I have no reason I stopped that. Just kind of boredom. I don't know, like just randomly stopped it. And over time, you don't see it, but then it builds up. I guess over time, you do see it. In the short term, you don't notice it. But that's something that I notice. And over time, you can get complacent. And for whatever reason, I think once you know you can do it. And so if you're listening to this and you've stopped gambling in the past, but now you're back, or anything, whether it's food or whatever your thing is. And that's why I say this is global. This isn't about a specific addiction. This isn't about a specific behavior. It's about these kind of larger picture behaviors that we have, that we struggle with. And for whatever reason, once we've done it once, it's like we know we can do it. And so there's almost like a comfort and a complacency that sets in. It's like, well, I can start that back anytime. And at some point, you just got to kind of call BS on yourself and say, all right, prove it. It's like that name that tune game, right? Or it's like I can name that tune in 3 notes. And eventually you get to the point where it's like, all right, big shot, do it. Like prove it. And so I guess this is my way of saying that I'm calling BS on myself and saying prove it. If the podcast matters to you and expressing yourself matters to you, do it. And coming out and creating accountability makes sense for you, then prove it. Do it. Create that accountability. And as I said, when I first did the podcast, sharing your worst times or your struggles with the world has a magnificent way of motivating behavior that moves me in the right direction. And so I guess I'm looking to kind of capture that and reinvigorate some of that in myself. So again, I'll be sharing, in addition to the gambling stuff, it's always through a gambling lens, share that because I have that background. We have that shared experience in many ways. But it applies so much wider, and there's so much more wide application to life on all these topics. And for me, procrastination is one that clearly was a problem with gambling. I mean, there were so many things in there. I was like, well, I'll handle that later. I kept just pushing it down the road. And eventually it comes time to pay that off. And if you just keep pushing it off, bad things happened back then. And I see some of those things escalating, like I say, in my business. And I don't want that to get to that place because I'm still at the lucky place where I haven't let it kind of go over to lost opportunities. So no need to, right? No need to self-sabotage. And that's been an interesting thing. Like I say, when I'm talking to my friend Mark, who I'm doing before gambling, like that was a topic that came up. Like we both have some similar financial self-sabotage things. And so it's fine. It's interesting. You see some of these common threads in somebody else. You say, that's exactly how I think. For me in my business, I would often hesitate to send out invoices. And I think part of it was just still have a lack of trust in myself with money. And I eventually got to the point where it's like, well, that's dumb. It's better to come up with better systems so you don't have to worry about it. And so everything from outsourcing all 401k stuff, like that's all. Now I don't have to think about it. The money just gets auto drawn out. Like I don't have to think about it. They're just simplifying things. So I don't have to create these internal worries, but I can also kind of name them and move through them and create transparency. But the biggest one is systems, right? Like a system where my money just does what it does. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be the cog in the wheel or the problem in there. So that's been an interesting one, but there's a lot of things we can do. When we self-sabotage in gambling, and now we don't have gambling to self-sabotage, so we find new and different ways to do it. And again, I kind of talk about that in the next episode. I'm going to, definitely talk about switching behaviors, right? Because when we stop gambling, I think we've all probably seen this in some ways. We start doing something else, and it's kind of a replacement for gambling, which I don't know. Maybe there's definitely healthier options, but I guess we'll just explore that in the next one. But anyways, as I say, I'm happy and excited to be back here. Things are really going very well in my life, and that's I don't know. I just want to get them better, and that's something that, as I've said now probably 10 times in this podcast, doing this helps me get better. And so hopefully you could draw something out of it and helps you get better as well. We can both get a little bit better together and work through what's going on in our lives, whether it's gambling or some other similar thing. We can learn from it. We can grow from it and continue to improve our lives. So other than that, I hope that things are well with you. I appreciate you kind of hanging in here the last few years when I haven't done all these episodes. I'm committing to doing them weekly now. And I've said this in the past, but seriously, send me a message, jamie@aftergambling.com. That accountability is huge. Like, just reach out and say, hey, you said you were going to do podcasts. It's Friday. I want to hear it. Let's go. Get it done. And I will appreciate that, because that is, I guess my goal will be, I don't like to disappoint people. And that's kind of like with my work. I push it down the road, but I always get it out when I make the commitments. I've always had a way of getting it done. And so in creating that commitment, I want to always get it done. But what I don't want to do this time around is always be getting them done at the last minute, where I'm recording them Friday morning and pushing them out midday, late in the day. Definitely try and create systems in place so that things just go. Because when I get that, it allows me to be my best self and to be able to show up for my kids in a better way, show up for my wife in a better way, show up for myself in a better way, allow myself time where I'm just kind of hanging out, but then also get the work done that I really want to do. Because there's a lot of work I still want to do in this realm, not just with this podcast, but with some other stuff in the gambling space. And I know that I'll be happier as I continue to move into that. And happiness is funny, right? Happiness is fleeting. As we get in there, like what we think makes us happy and what makes us happy in the first little bit doesn't always continue. And so I'm aware of that. But I know that there's a deep need of myself to express myself in new and different ways to help grow and hopefully move this whole industry and the whole view of gambling and problem gambling forward, as well as just addiction and mental health in general. Because I get so frustrated with some of the messaging that we have on all fronts, and the brand strategist and me, the marketer, the communications side of me, feels like there's so much I have that I can give and share, but I got to create space for it. And so part of that is getting ahead of work, allowing my day-to-day work, which pays the bills, to get that done first, but then allowing space then following that to do this podcast, to do other work, which will then continue to grow and maybe become a little bit more of a driving force and free me up to do more of that work as we go forward. So I don't know. I guess it's a long-winded way of saying my life is really going well, but it's really complicated. And I think that's probably all of us right now, and especially my work life. Depending on day to day, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. And that is part of what's probably led me to get to this place. And so I'm here admitting my faults and trying to create a better system as I move forward, and appreciate you keeping me accountable along the way. So now, as always, I still don't have any letters before or after my name. I haven't spent any time getting those. So this is for informational purposes only. And I can't stress enough, get professional help. Like, it's the best. I mean, like, and get friends in a support group that can help you as well. But always reach out, get a financial planner. Got a guy, like, in the end, like, is it a little bit more money? Yeah. Do I have to think about it? No. Is that brilliant? Yeah. So, like, use these people. Get into therapy. If you don't have a good therapist, find a good therapist. All of the above. Reach out, get that help. Financial, emotional, mental health, physical, hire a trainer, whatever it needs to be. but rely on other people, because I think so many times when I get in trouble, it's because I'm trying to do everything myself. So again, informational purposes, get professional help. It will go a long way in success. And I will try to take that on as well, because I'm good at saying what to do and then doing otherwise. Because hey, we're stubborn, but it really works. When I hire out, when I bring in people to help me, my life continues to get better. So I will also try to continue to live by that mantra and that expression at the end of this, that this is for informational purposes, and I will continue to seek out expert help along the way. But yeah, excited to be back, excited to be posting. Look forward to hearing from you. Reach out. We'll try and get some people. I know there's a backlog of a bunch of people that want to come on. I got to figure out how we want to do some interviews, because I want to keep it fresh and new and good for everybody listening, but also the people coming on, so that we can make sure that it's a positive experience that really promotes and your growth and sets you up to have future success. So we'll do those. Other than that, that is all for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. 1 week away. Got to get it done. See y'all.